It's hard to do this with one person and get the right angles. But peel the upper lip back and try not to get my hands in the way completely, but just right where those little nodules on the lip stop, start making a cut there all the way around. Up at the top, just cut straight down through the septum. Now the septum starts releasing there, and you can cut the skin away through the tissue. And when you get to the back of the septum, you just cut across really easy till you start seeing skin again, and then it should start releasing. And it's opening up there. You just have to be careful there not to cut into skin. On the sides of the cheeks here, where there's this jaw muscle tissue, so it comes in right here. I usually would make a slice right here, real easy until you start seeing the skin. And if you go real easy, it won't cut through the skin, it'll just cut through the muscle. Just when you get there, just stop. Same up here, there's a lot of muscle tissue in the cheek area. Let's try to, that way when I skin from the other side, I can just release all that and it don't go with the cape. It's kind of tricky, but I'll do the same thing on the other side. Get some of this released down here. I know this angle's not gonna be very good. I'm just doing the same thing on this side that I did on the other side, releasing some of this muscle tissue from the cheek area. Try not to take any more of that with the cape than I have to. It's just more fleshing you gotta do later. Harder to do on this side because I'm right-handed and I got to hold it with my left. Everything's always easier on one side than the other. All right, so try to free up the skin away from that cheek material. Continue to skin down the nose. if you pull away, just like skinning anything else, you see the connective tissue. You can see the difference between it and the actual skin. That way you know that you're cutting tissue and rather than skin. But that's the same with any other animal, really. I go down almost all the way to the eyes before I stop. And again, I'm just trying to release as much of that jaw and cheek muscle as I can down through here. Just gonna make that fleshing job easier. I used to leave a lot of that in there. Now I spend my time doing it here instead. I'm getting to about as far as I can go on this. The hide just stops wanting to peel away at a certain point, so you have to flip over and start from the other side. It's about, maybe I can go a little farther on this side, but all right, I'll flip the head over. Pull these wrinkles out if I can. I think that neck tissue is still a little bit frozen in there, but I don't like to have wrinkles in this back section. I want to make a straight cut, so I'm gonna go ahead and change this blade, because cutting around the face, you do hit bone a little bit, and it'll just be easier to do this with a sharp blade. If I can get this thing off, it's stuck. I'll just get a different handle. That's a new handle, a little stiff. All right, so now we make our Y cut. I'm gonna cut one side, and I'm just gonna come on down with that all the way to the base of that meat, because it just makes it easier. It's a little more stitching, but I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up all the way down to the muscle. It's still pretty cold, so it's not real pliable yet. I'll go ahead and open up my first side of the Y cut. It usually takes a couple slices to get that all the way open, but that's about it. And I'll lay that back down and just go to the other side and join that right there. So now we got our Y incision made. I'll go ahead and start skinning back towards the ear butt on this side. I'll try to just skin as close to the skin as I can and not leave any muscle or fat on there if I can help it. thing's kind of wobbly, it's hard to juggle. But I'll just try to open that side up and then release the top part. I'm trying not to get my hands in the way, but I'm just grabbing the top part of this Y cut. I'm gonna skin it back so it's kind of out of the way. And then release that all the way up to the burr. And I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting through this muscle kind of right here. You can see right here is where it kind of rounds out into the skull. I usually cut right here and just cut straight down. I'm gonna start seeing the top of the ear canal. Cut some of that tissue away. It's okay if you leave this, that's just the ear butt. That ear canal is right there. Once you cut through that, you can release some of this up here at the top. I usually will go in at the top of the hair right here. Let's see if I can get a better view of some sort. Right here where I made this cut up to the burr, I'll go into the top side above the hair and just kind of twist the scalpel to get that to release a little bit. You kind of have to do this on the back side. It's almost impossible not. It's hard to get it started without releasing that part right there. You gotta kind of release some tissue down at the bottom. Then get our screwdriver. Sometimes this works good, sometimes it don't. It kind of depends on the deer, seems like, how much connective tissue they have. I'm gonna go ahead and release some more of this here below the ear. It's just gonna make this job easier. The more you got freed up down here, the easier it's gonna be to skin out the rest of that side. The more tension you got on it back here, the harder it's gonna be. I'm gonna release just a little more underneath here with the scalpel. Try to cut some of this muscle away. So let's see how well. Looks like this is gonna be an easy one. Just slide that underneath there. You want to use a Phillips because a flathead will pop right through this skin. Well, I thought it was gonna be easy, but I just want it to stay attached at the top. So sometimes it takes a combination of the screwdriver and the scalpel to get this done. Some of them want to peel right off and others are just a pain. That's just how it is. It depends on how much tissue they got up here. And the other side might peel right off, whereas this one don't. So don't seem to be no rhyme or reason to it. You just gotta be careful not to poke your screwdriver right through the top of the head there. All right, so the front's kind of released. The blade popped off. And I'll start releasing this side from the underneath side. Just kind of releasing the back there a little bit. Get the screwdriver in here. A tough booger. I'm gonna release a little more. Trying not to make any notch cuts in that if possible. It's just harder to get the antler burr skin lined up. I go to mount them. This one's, I made a little jacked up cut right there. I'll just trim that off and tuck it as close as I can. Put some glue in there, it'll be fine, but it's hard to get them perfect. And unless that skin around the burrs just wants to peel away on its own. It's just hard. This one's just one of the difficult ones, so it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna go up underneath on this side, see if I can get that to release. I'm gonna skin back some of this on this side so it's easier to free up. I'm not trying to get my arm in the way, but I'm just skinning this down around the neck a little bit. We'll release this ear butt. Still just a little tiny bit frozen. Not quite, but you can tell it almost is still. And this has been thawing all night, so. All right, got the ear butt released. The skin's kind of hard to get to, especially if you're right-handed. I'm just gonna go on top of this and cut through that connective tissue right on top of the hairline. Try to free that up so it's headed around that side of the burr. All right. Well, we can get the screwdriver in there a little bit. Might be able to free this up. There's a lot. This deer has a lot of thick connective tissue around the antler base, so that's what's making this one hard. And all of them that are difficult, it's the same. They just have thicker connective tissue right there at that antler base. So sometimes you don't have no choice but to just make cuts around here to free this up. And it is what it is. And as long as there's some long hair left on the cape around it and that's not cut off, then that can still be tucked up there nice and neat, and it'll hide that fact that there's a bunch of little V cuts in that where you went around the burr instead of just peeling it free like you want to. Let's see if I can get it in there from this side. Get that peeled free. He's just got some really tough connective tissue. Let me try going in from this side and see if I can get it loose. There it comes. Got that freed up. That can be a chore sometimes right there. So the closer you get to the eye skin, that's where you gotta kind of be careful. I'm gonna get around here and free up the rest of this one. All right, that's released. So then I'm just gonna peel down the forehead here, trying to remove, there's a lot of muscle tissue in there, which is not a big deal. I can release that when I'm fleshing, but right now I'm right over top of the eye socket on that side, and I'm getting close to the eye socket on this side. It's just easier to do this on the forehead from this angle. So I'm gonna try to do this side for you where you can see good. Hopefully this is a decent angle. I can't tell really. I'm gonna free back here first to where I can start to see. This is the back of the eye socket right here. Now you wanna stick your finger in the eye skin, but you wanna gently release layers of that eye skin, if you'll remember. And you can start to see the thin part of the eye skin there, but you wanna remove this part. You don't wanna cut up here. You wanna remove all that eye skin. And if you're not careful right here, you'll cut through what you see from the outside. So if you grab that interior eye skin, you don't risk any of that damage at all. And just keep skinning away down here. And there's the eye hole right there. I just keep pulling down, so I'm pulling out that interior eye tissue. And that way you don't risk cutting through that part of the eye that you'll see on the outside. And then we're getting into where the tear duct is. There's a lot of muscle tissue in your way, but right here at the front of the eye where the tear duct is, you just have to get down in there and kind of carve that out. Now if you cut through it, no big deal, I can sew it up. But I like to try to keep it intact, but just keep cutting down in that hole. There's like a little notch in there where the tear duct's at. If you put some tension on the skin back here and keep just easing that out, it'll be freed up just like that. Right there's where it was, and now it's here. So, and just keep skinning it down. And I'm working down this cheek tissue that I was trying to free up. I'll keep skinning here till I meet where I stopped from the front side. Yep, tissue there, all cheek tissue. So I'm gonna leave that intact there. I'll go back here to the back and try to free up all this. I'll do the same thing on the other side. There's the actual eye skin right there. And there's the back of the eye, so, or bottom part of the eye anyway. Keep pulling that out, that way you don't risk cutting through that skin. That would be the one place I'd really not want to make an accidental cut, because it's not as easy to fix a place around the eye. And tear duct area. Just carve away at that in that notch until it is freed up. So we're out of danger zone there. All right, let's go ahead and This is kind of the frozen side, so it's going to be a little trickier. It's not too bad around the face, just more towards the neck where that was all balled up. But I think we'll be able to get it. All right, that side's already pretty much free. So what I'll do then is flip the head up on its horns, pull that skin off the face, and then start cutting away right below the chin here in the lower jaw area. And right up in the where the neck muscle's at, it's kind of hard to tell, so go slow right there, because the skin kind of tucks up in that, in those muscle folds. But just skin that away from the neck. Got everything kind of bound up here. See if I can get the skin back out of my way. Just a lot of muscle in there that makes it hard. If you had an extra pair of hands where you could hold this up, you could see better what you're actually cutting. And it's okay if you leave muscle in this area. It's going to flesh off with the flesh machine, but now it's completely free. And we have a cape. So I'll show you. You see where I had to cut around the burrs, how that's kind of jacked up instead of smooth? I can trim that around to get rid of some of that. But where I have some long hair on this side, if I don't cut through a lot of that, I can still hide. This side came out a lot better. That's a smooth cut. I got one little bad cut here. I'll just trim that piece off, get it out of the way. But as long as I got long hair around the antler burrs to hide that, I can cut this away, make that a smooth cut down through there. That's basically what I'm trying to achieve through that. But and then on the eyes, see all that interior skin that I cut away? That way I avoided cutting through the eye skin on both sides. So those are the main two places. Try to be real careful. And then on the bottom of the chin, right in here, that's real thin. And then the same thing on the top. But that's a septum release there. So I think that's it. Easy peasy.